Hi there, I'm Tom Ruello, VP of Sales at SpendHound. Today I'm really excited to be chatting with Ashley regarding the partnership we're rolling out with Consero. Ashley, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ashley Honeyman. I'm CFO and COO of Consero, and we recently brought SpendHound in internally for use, and now we're very excited to roll it out to our clients.
Well, actually, we're really excited about the partnership, but as you said, you have rolled it out internally. I'd love to maybe start with that story. How did we initially kind of get in touch with you, and why did you bring us on?
Oh, for sure. So it's kind of fun because, I think a lot of people say cold calling is dead, but it is absolutely not. Every once in a while, I'll pick up a call from someone just to see what they're selling. And that day it was SpendHound. I picked up the phone and he told me what SpendHound was, a procurement software that was completely free and could really help any CFO in any business. And he said, would you want to see a demo? And I said, absolutely, show it to me. Was Googling it already and was extremely interested. And so saw the demo, instantly knew we had to try it. I've definitely been the internal champion of SpendHound, and we've loved using the platform.
It's awesome to hear. I know that you have had some good successes using it. Can you maybe run us through a few examples of ways that we've helped you with SpendHound?
Oh, for sure. So SpendHound is fantastic because it manages all of your contracts in one place. But beyond just the contract management, SpendHound helps you with your procurement through benchmarking and competitive analysis. So we had one renewal coming up, and it's very easy in SpendHound. You can just say, request benchmarking. And so we requested benchmarking. SpendHound looked at our pricing, said, you're actually slightly higher than what we've seen other customers on a per user basis for this particular platform, which I've used before. And this platform is, this particular software, they increase you every year, 5 to 10% every year. I've never seen anything like that. But we were able to go back to that software and say, look, we know we're priced higher and we want you to give us a 0% increase. And they did. And so that was completely driven by SpendHound. We definitely wouldn't have gotten that. And then the other one was we were looking at another software that we didn't love, and we asked SpendHound, not just for benchmarking, but we said, what are other people using? And so your team was able to send over to us examples of other companies who are doing the same thing that we could go and check out and get a competitive analysis for.
Love to hear it. It makes me very happy when I hear about the customer wins. Now, obviously, that was the starting point of the relationship. You brought it on internally. We added value to you. As a result of that, we're starting to build this partnership with Consero more broadly. And we're really excited to bring it on and hopefully bring it on to all Consero customers. Can you maybe share a little bit around why? Why were you so excited to bring this into the Consero tech stack?
Well, if you think about it, CFOs really don't have a lot of access to price comparison. So when you go out and you're looking to bring on a new vendor, I do two things. If somebody in my company wants to bring on a vendor, I say I need to see 3 quotes from 3 competitors, right? So I need 3 to look at so that you can have an ability to negotiate on price. And then the other thing I say is I always want 20% off of whatever they offer me up front because I know there's room to negotiate in any of these. But there's no ability for a CFO or a company to really understand what other people are paying and am I getting a good deal? Am I being overcharged? There's no way to know that. But with SpendHound, you can. SpendHound says, yeah, this is what we're seeing them charge other SpendHound customers, which is a game changer for CFOs. And so knowing that we have so many clients, with 300 clients that could absolutely benefit from this, I knew right away I had to bring it to clients. I was actually at a conference with our private equity backer, and some of the other portcos were there, and I said, you guys all should be on SpendHound because it's a game changer when you need to go do a renewal, when you need to bring in a new software, when you need to do some vendor analysis. And SpendHound's been a great partner to us, and so I knew they could be a great partner for our customers.
Nice, love it. We feel like it's a no-brainer. Obviously, we're pretty biased. I think for a lot of CFOs, they often struggle to justify paying for a tool like this, which is why I guess the free kind of business model is working well. But I guess, what's your experience been with that? Have you thought about paying for similar tools? And I guess, why not?
So I have, and the reason I have not brought on a tool like this in the past is because I can't justify the cost. because the cost of other procurement platforms, and not even ones that do benchmarking, just other platforms, is so expensive, 50 grand, 100 grand. And so to bring something like that on is hard to justify when you're in finance, especially when you hold the budget, right? Every year I do a budget, and every year I need to find places to cut in my budget. And so it's hard to justify spending on some finance software that's that expensive. And so the fact that SpendHound is free, completely free to use, is a game changer for mid-sized companies that can't afford those big price tags.
Yeah, and I guess actually I know procurement seems to be something that's sort of often overlooked from the CFOs. I guess why do you feel like this is such an important thing to bring on for a CFO and a finance team?
For sure. So I think a lot of companies, that are smaller, mid-sized companies, they manage vendor spend very fractionally across departments. So engineering will own their contracts and own their spend, and they might be managing that in an Excel file. And then marketing manages their spend, and so they know what contracts and vendors they have. But oftentimes the finance office doesn't, and sometimes the finance office can even be surprised with a new contract that got signed or a vendor invoice comes in and that you didn't know about. And so one of the things that's great about SpendHound is it links into your systems as well. So it links into bill.com for us and Intacct and pulls in the spend and then highlights where we don't have contracts, and we can go out and get the contracts from marketing or R&D or sales, whoever has those contracts, and get them all in one place. And then we can see all of those vendors in one place. And SpendHound tracks the renewal date and even emails you and says, hey, you have this contract coming up for renewal, or hey, there's an auto renew coming up in 90 days. Do you want to relook at that contract before it auto renews? And the fact that that's doing that for Consero, because we did manage this in departments and it was a little bit hard to see all our spend, I knew we could bring that to our clients, because that is oftentimes how it starts. Your company grows, you're just growing and doing what you can and spending, but oftentimes the contracts just aren't managed anywhere. And so SpendHound bringing that together is huge. And the other thing you guys just rolled out, which I think is a great feature, and we've actually been rolling it out internally, is a delegation of authority and pushing approvals through SpendHound. So if someone wants to bring on a new vendor, they have to do it through SpendHound now, right? If somebody wants to do a renewal request, they have to do it through SpendHound. So it gets managed and it follows your delegation of authority.
Yeah. One thing we often see is that companies kind of overlook the whole concept of procurement until they get very large. And often at that point, they're almost too big. It's like it's a mess and they've got to control it. I guess what's the value you see for maybe some of your earlier stage clients bringing on SpendHound and using it sort of earlier in their sort of maturity level?
For sure. I just think having everything in one place is a huge game changer. Small companies, larger companies, mid-sized companies, just being able to log into one place and see all of your contracts. So you see the LTM spend. You see, SpendHound also shows you where you're maybe not using a software or where you might be using a software. So for small companies to be able to come on and see that spend is really valuable. And then as you get larger, oftentimes there'll be spend that's being spent twice, like ChatGPT licenses. You'll see all of a sudden there's 10 people who have a credit card charge for ChatGPT, and it's like, why don't we consolidate that license into one and get an enterprise license and make it cheaper? And so wherever you are on the value chain in the small companies, just getting visibility to the medium companies, kind of being able to see wasted spend and have some savings is very valuable.
Yeah, love it. Okay, well, we are really, really excited to be rolling this out across your full client base. I think there's value for the smaller companies, and there's a lot of value as companies scale up and start spending a lot of money on SaaS. So Ashley, thank you so much for this conversation today. I really appreciated it. If you want to learn more about SpendHound, you can go to spendhound.com and we'd be happy to help you out. Thank you so much.